Now I can look wherever I want. My turret will try to stay on the center of that guy. Now, your shots will not be calculated. It shoots the center of the tank. But when you're circling... Hey guys, welcome back to dungeongurunet. This is Nethervoid, also known as John, bringing you another strategy series this week, as I do every week. And this is going to be part 2 of the general tactics video. It's about 25 minutes long or so. I did have a cold when I recorded it, so sorry about that. This is going to be the last 3 sections, and if you missed last week, there should be a link to see the first part. So please put some comments please leave comments if you know any better ways to do these tactics, or something you see something that's wrong. I really would appreciate it, since I don't know everything about this game. And really, this channel is kind of about being a community, helping each other out. So anyway, without further ado, please enjoy. So now we've talked about some general tips, some camouflage and hiding and stuff, movement, how to move around on the map and stuff like that. Next up, we're going to talk about, okay, you found the enemy, and now you're getting into some combat. So we're going to talk about positioning. So this game is very sophisticated as far as how it calculates armor values and penetration and stuff like that. And there's lots of different stuff to go over as far as really detailed information about penetration and shells and all that stuff. There's going to be some links in the description again to go into more detail, but first let's talk about general positioning, something you should be doing as a habit. So as you can see right now, I'm facing Andrew right now, and I'm going to go into battle with him, and I'm pretty much at a perpendicular angle with my front armor with his gun. Now this is not a very... Oh man. Dang, sorry about that. This is generally not the greatest position to be in, because my armor, I'm perpendicular to his shot. The game does calculate, based on the angling of the armor, how much thickness of armor that the round has to penetrate in order to actually penetrate the tank. The more sloped the armor, the thicker the armor is at that point, based on where the shell is going to come through on a horizontal plane there. So you can see my front plate, which is called a glasses plate because it is angled. You can see that even though the thickness in this direction might only be, let's say, 20 millimeters, I'm just pulling a number out of my butt. At the horizontal angle, it's a lot thicker. It might be 35 millimeter armor, so that the armor is thicker and it's going to have a better chance to bounce off. Also, with the angle, it could ricochet. You just never really know. So having angles on your tank makes the armor thicker. The numbers specified in your tank's stats are the thickness of the armor. It is not in relation to the angle of the armor. So if it says 20 millimeters for this tank, and you're hitting it horizontally, 20 millimeters means a dead-on shot directly onto the armor. That's 20 millimeter thickness. It's thicker at the horizontal plane here, or, you know, if you're doing it even at a more angle, and that brings up my next side. If I turn my tank like this, look at the angle I just created. I'm creating more angle for more thickness on my armor. Always angle your tank when you're firing on an enemy. Never just set up perpendicular like this, because it makes it easier for him to damage you. So you want to generally you want to face your frontal armor a little bit at a steeper angle, and this back armor at a more slight angle, because it's going to be thinner armor, and that creates the best, the maximum armor on your whole tank, as far as if you're having to show the whole, your whole tank to somebody. Hopefully you got some cover on the side on your weak armor. You don't have to do that. But if you do, in that case, you would want to angle it even more, because you want that front armor to have as much angling as possible to create the thickest armor as you can. So the next part we're going to talk about is keep your turret facing the enemy. As much as you can, keep that turret facing the enemy, because that's where your strongest armor is. See how my turret is facing the enemy as much as I can? What I've seen a lot of people do is there's a guy here and there's another guy, let's say over here, and they'll start shooting this guy. Look at what I just did. The enemy here now gets to shoot my side turret armor. That is not good. You don't want to have this happen to you. So let's say let's get into some other situations, and then I'll show you what you can do in this situation I'm looking at right here. We have two enemies, and they're not both in the same direction. So this next thing I'm going to tell you has two different times when you might want to do this. Let's say you're firing at a guy behind this barn, and you're firing away, having a great old time, and your armor's angled, and another guy pops over this hill right here. Holy crap. Well, you need to get the best angle
for your armor you can on both that guy and this guy. See how I just moved myself to position myself with the best shot for that guy? See, he's got a really angled tank to shoot at. And this guy, he's got a really angled tank to shoot at. I don't want to give this guy coming off the hill my whole side armor. That's really bad. I don't want to give him, obviously, that kind of a shot. That's even worse. So you want to make sure that you angle the best, get the best angling you can based on the kind of enemies that you got coming at you. Another thing you can do, and this is even better, so here's what I would do in this situation. I'm shooting at the guy here. I got a nice angle on my armor. He's having a hard time penetrating me. A guy comes over this hill. First thing I'm going to do is back up to this position to get the best angling for two enemies for their different positions. And then I'm going to start looking for cover. I should have already been in cover anyway. Oh crap, I need to find some cover. Let's use this house. I want to get the least amount of guns firing at me as possible. And so I only expose myself now to this one guy right there. Okay? Now just the guy at the barn can shoot at me and I can shoot at him. And I've got a good angle on my tank. And I'm hiding a lot of my tank behind this building. And now the guy coming over that hill does not have a shot on me. So that's what you want to do, is always be repositioning yourself to have the best armor facing the enemy and have it angled and make sure the least amount of guns are focused on you as possible. But still have your gun unloading on an enemy. Since you can only shoot one enemy at a time, only expose yourself if you can help it to one enemy at a time. That pretty much covers positioning and where you want your armor to be. And now let's talk about positions you can be in for shooting the enemy. Now, the next section we're going to talk about is flanking and circling, and there's a couple of different things to cover. It's a little bit more advanced positioning, really, was kind of what we're going to be talking about. So, right now, there's two different kinds of flanking I want to talk about, and right now we're just going to talk about the type of flanking you're going to do if you're a medium or if you're a lower tier. And your gun, basically, anytime you have a gun that cannot reliably penetrate big tanks head-on. So let's say you're a medium or you're a low tier and you're cresting the hill with a bunch of heavies, let's say all your buddies. And you come up on a bunch of other tanks enemy tanks down at the bottom here. And they all have great positioning with the front armor at you, and it's all angled nice and everything. And you know you cannot reliably penetrate this armor. Well, what you need to do as a medium tank or a lower tier tank is you're going to try not to engage that enemy head on, because then he's going to have an advantage. So you're going to come over, we're going to try to flank through this city here. You're going to come down here, get a really start from a really low position so you cannot be seen, because as soon as you are seen with this flank move, you're just going to get shot at, detracked, probably killed. So you see I'm moving over into the city area, far back as possible. I'm watching for enemy. If I see any enemy, I'm going to obviously adjust my tactics here. So let's say I don't see any enemy here. I pop out here, I spot nobody's here. I'm going to keep moving up. Just going to keep moving up. Try to keep moving, but stop at each spot where it's kind of an opening. Up, nobody's in the city. Keep moving, keep moving. Now here's where it's a big opening, so you're going to pop out. Well, don't hit that. Pop out, check real quick. Oh, I didn't spot anybody. Okay, I'm going to start moving around. You're going to basically get in a great position to flank these guys. So I've come over here. There's no enemy. A little bit of lag there. That's not a great way to do it. You can see my ping. There's some clan wars going on right now. So I'm coming up behind these buildings. I'm hiding. Now I'm popping out. And bam, look at that great flank position I have on this guy and all his buddies. Now you're going to be able to get a couple shots off before they even notice. Although they'll notice getting hit, they don't pay attention to it. A lot of people, when they start getting in a fight, they don't notice damage coming in different directions. And that's going to really help you. So you're going to take a shot. When that guy starts looking at you, you're just going to back up and wait. You see how you can see over the house? And since there are guys up on that hill, even though you're behind the house, you'll still be able to see how now I can't see him. That won't happen to you because you're going to have buddies staring down at him. So as soon as you see him, when you're reloaded, as soon as you see him turn back to fight the people in front of him, pop out, take another shot. Okay? Keep shooting until he starts to look at you again, then just hide. All you have to do is wait till he forgets about you, then pop out again. Now, it's a lot harder to do if you can't see the enemy, okay? Let's say you can't see the enemy turret because there's some reason you can't see it, okay? What you need to do is hold right-click here and look out over and see how you can turn way around. I can see all the way around that building now. I can see where his gun is. Wait till he's looking at somebody else. Pop out, boom, okay? pop back. Just watch his turret. See where it is. See where his gun's aiming before you pop out. Here, actually, you would be like this first, probably. Then you would hold it. See, now I can drive around, pop him, drive right back. Okay? That's called wall humping in other games. It kind of originated in PlanetSide. Kind of using that basically, it's not a hack, but it's using the mechanics to your advantage. I can watch his turret and watch where he's aiming. See? So that's the first way to flank somebody. Now the next one is going to be it's a type of flanking, but it's more like a pincer move, and I'm going to have Andrew please move the tank up to behind this rock over here. Andrew's going to be helping me a little bit with this guide. So we're going to get in the same situation here. Just move it up right up behind that rock, buddy, like you were hiding behind that rock. So this is the same position we just talked about. I'm going to see where Andrew's going first. Okay, he's behind the rock now. Alright, so let's say the same situation happens. Two of us are coming over this ridge. And one guy starts going this way. So now, you don't both go this way. Because Andrew can keep his best armor facing both of you. Okay, that's not good. Now, this might seem obvious, but trust me, people don't do this. I don't know why, but just think about this when you're coming up this hill. A lot of times I'll back up and let the other guy make my buddy make the first move. I'll let him pick the direction he wants to go, and I'll go the opposite direction. Now, Andrew has to give him or me the side armor. He can't give us both the good armor. He'll probably start backing down the hill. I'm going to use it. Now I got the momentum of the hill to my advantage. Look at that. I can stop him. I can basically force him in a pincer move to give me or my buddy great shots on this guy and hopefully take him out before he can do anything to us. Maybe just a little bit of damage, no big deal. But the point is, we win, he loses very quickly. If he gets to get his great armor toward both of us, he has a lot better chance of waiting us out, waiting for Artie to help him out, waiting for his buddies to show up and help him. You want to take him out as fast as you can, and pincer move is almost always the best option. So remember that. So, Andrew, why don't you go down to where you were before and just, I don't need your help after that, buddy. Thanks. So the next thing we're going to talk about is called circling. Now, the flanking moves I just talked about, they're great for any tank. Heavy, medium, it doesn't really matter. Do them as much as possible. Every tank you play, you should be trying to flank people. Trying to figure out how can I get good shots or allow my buddies to get good shots on the side or the back armor. This kind of move is called circling. And now what we're going to do here is, it's the same scenario. Andrew is shooting at your friendlies that are coming over that ridge. You're going to take that advantage of the situation to come up. You don't have any cover. So instead of just stopping and shooting at him, he's going to turn his turret toward you. If you just stay here, he's going to blow you away. What you're going to do is use your momentum and your better circling speed and the better turret speed here to turn and circle him. And he's going to try to keep his turret on you, but his turret's going to turn really slow, and your tank traverses faster than his turret traverse. Or if he's smart, and if he's got nobody with him, no enemies, I mean, you have no friendlies, it's just you against him, he'll try to turn his tank and his turret and add both of those traverses to try to attack you. You're going to play, though. You're going to play with him. You're not going to let his turret ever catch up with you. If he does, just make the best of it. Hopefully you're getting tons of shots on him by that point. If it looks like he's going to keep up with you, you're going to have to try to get to some cover. Try to make it out of there, serpentine, try to get behind those buildings, whatever you need to do. You might die. Hopefully you could take him out. Hopefully Artie will help you, etc. Now, there's one more thing to talk about when you're trying to do this, is the angle of attack. Okay, let's say you're coming down this hill and you're trying to circle this guy, and there is nobody else around. He's going to have at least one good shot at you, so you want to have a heavy angle of attack, so you can get in there real quick, start circling him. His turret is going to have a long time trying to get around, so you're just going to take that time to get in that really steep angle of attack to get into that circling position quickly. Here's what you don't want to do. If you take a really wide angle of attack, it's a lot. See how I don't have to turn my turret much to keep that wide angle? Neither does he. He can keep up with a wider angle, a wider circle like that. A lot easier anyway. You want to get your circle needs to be as tight as it can where your turret can keep up. See how my turret can keep up with this circle? He will never be able to keep up. But you don't want it to be too fast to where he'll stop trying to circle you. Andrew, why don't you help me out with this one? Let's let them see this. Now, Andrew, he's got a fast turret, but Andrew, act like, no, don't turn. Act like your turret's not very fast. Okay? Now I'm going to start circling him. Turn your turret. See, he's trying to keep up with me. But now if I go too fast, he'll stop moving his turret, because watch. I see how it's easier to turn it the opposite direction. So Andrew, turn it slower. Okay, keep turning slow. I'm circling him. Now, as soon as I get a little ahead of him, I'm going to slow down. Try to keep it so he can't shoot at me, but I don't want to get too far ahead of his turret, so he'll keep trying to... Oh, I'll wait. See? I'm going to just psych him out. Now, this is where that medium and light tanks do take a lot more skill to use, because you have to all be shooting at him at the same time. You know, watch out his momentum and your momentum, and just this is a practice thing, okay? And one other thing to know, see how it's hard for me to keep my turret on him while I'm also doing all these things to try to get him from shooting me and blah, 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 blah. Well, there's a little bit of a trick you can do to circling. If you mouse over a tank and right-click, now I can look wherever I want. My turret will try to stay on the center of that guy. Now, your shots will not be calculated. It shoots the center of the tank. But when you're circling, it doesn't matter. A lot of times you're going to be shooting at the back or the side. The main thing is you need to worry about your positioning and not worry about where your turret is. Especially for SPGs and these faster tanks. Now he's got a fast tank, so he can keep up with me. It doesn't work on light tanks, but it works on SPGs. It'll work against big heavies, some mediums. If you're a light tank, you can circle. I've killed a Jag Panther in my T-34 just by circling him. He couldn't keep up with his traverse. So anyway, that's circling, that's the flanking, and that's everything you need to know. Now to take your gun back off, you just right-click again, and your gun will come off the target. So that's this section. This is just going to take practice, and really battle experience will help you out with with flanking and circling, and knowing when to do flanks and knowing when to circle and all that. That just comes with experience. But these tips should help you get started. Let's get on to the next section. Okay, here we're going to show you the opposite, what you're going to do to defend against circling. Okay, so Andrew's in his light tank. Let's just say this was a medium, and I'm in my big heavy. See how it turns real slow? Look at that turret. Really slow turret. Okay, come in and circle me, buddy. So Andrew's coming in. Let's say I shoot him, and I'm a bad shot. He's serpentining, and I miss my shot, okay? Now he knows I got a big old reload time, so I'm going to start trying to get him. Now he's circling me. Oh, see, now I'm going to start turning back. Andrew's going to notice that. See? There's no way I'm going to hit him. So a lot of newer players do this. I'm just turning my turret. This is bad. Turn your tank and your turret the same direction. Look how faster my traverse is. I might even catch up with him. See? Almost. And boom, I can shoot him right there. So that's where you have to anticipate. You probably wouldn't want to take a tighter turn, Andrew. A much tighter circle. Not at me. Just take a tighter circle. Oh, don't hit me. So, if he takes a tighter circle, see, he can still avoid me. Doing a great job at it. Now, if I start turning the other way, he's going to stop. Okay? Now, if this is all the guy does, you're going to have his lunch. He's never going to be able to get you. But let's say I did this too. What you want to do when someone's circling you, keep going, Andrew. Keep going, is cut off his circle. Okay? If I back up against his building, he can't circle me. And he's dead because of it. So that's what you want to do to defend yourself against circling. Cut off their circle. Okay? So let's get to the next section. The next topic we're going to talk about is called pop-out game. At least that's what I call it. A lot of people call it just popping out is really what they call it. And you'll hear it in my videos. This is mainly a tactic for heavy tanks. It's somewhat also a tactic for medium tanks, and not as so much for light tanks. A little bit for TDs as well. But anyway, let's get right into it. So we've already decided that if I'm shooting Andrew here and we're exchanging fire, I'm not going to just sit it right out in the open. I mean, look at that. He can shoot anywhere he wants on my tank, and even when I'm reloading, he can shoot anywhere he wants. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out, hey, let's get behind this building when I'm trying to fire at him. That way, less of my tank's exposed. And so say I'm firing at him, and he gets a smaller silhouette of me, but he still can shoot at me. If I'm sitting out here while I'm reloading, he can shoot at me whenever he's loaded. If his gun reloads faster than mine, and we have the same damage, well, actually, if he reloads faster than me, he's going to be able to get all of his damage on me anytime he's reloaded. And I'm not going to have an advantage. But let's say I need to pop back when I'm reloading. If I'm pop back like this, he can't shoot me now. The building is between us.
I don't see the target.
And so while I'm reloading, even if he's reloaded, he can't shoot at me. And this is why having a longer reload on your gun is not necessarily a bad thing if it has more damage, because I can cause his DPS to go down just by hiding from him, because he cannot shoot at me even while he's loaded. That means his time on target is reduced by me hiding while I'm reloading. So let's say now I've reloaded, I just pop out again. Where'd he go? I'm gonna spot him. Hopefully you got help from tanks. Shoot him, and I'm back. Pop out when I'm reloaded. Shoot him, and I'm back, okay? That's what you're gonna do while you're reloading. That's called the pop-out game. Now there's a couple cool tips that you can use to make your pop-out game even better. And so what you're gonna do is, if you're really up close to the building, well, first you're gonna angle your armor. Here's another thing I see people do. Don't do this, okay? There's a different way people do pop-out. They think, hey, I can pop out and shoot and get back faster if I'm all sideways like this, right? So I'm over here. Quickly, I can get out there, shoot at Andrew, and get right back, and that's faster. Here's the problem, though. Look at your angle. All your weak armor is showing. There's no good armor exposed to Andrew except for your turret. That's really a bad angle. The angle you want for pop-out game is the same angle you want when you're facing Andrew. Maybe a little bit more of an angle so that you can really extend the depth of your front armor right there to make it as thick as possible, and it causes as many bounces as you can. So the first tip I'm going to talk about, it's already happening right here. When you back up behind a building, your gun points all the way skyward. I don't know why it does this. The developers just kind of, I don't know. It's the way it is the way it is. So what you want to do is, you don't want to pop out and have to wait for your gun to come down. A lot of guns have a very slow speed with their depression and inclination, and so you want to have that gun at level. You want to have that gun leveled out before you pop out. What you can do is just turn it off target, and then come around the corner and turn it on target like that. Or another way to do it, if you still have he's all still showing up on your minimap, is kind of sight in on him, pop out, wait for the reticle to come in, pop him, and bounce back, and just kind of keep zoomed in like that in sniper mode. In this position, though, you definitely, when you're zoomed in on snipe the whole time, you really need to watch the minimap. It's much more imperative, because now you have no peripheral vision at all, and you need to be able to spot what's coming around the corner and stuff, so that you don't get killed. So watch that minimap a lot when you're doing this little trick here. So another thing you want to do when you're in pop out is you want to pop out right before you reload, so that while you're reloading, the last bit of reload is also while you're aiming. So right when you're reloaded and your reticle's down, you pop them and then you back up. You don't want to wait till you're all the way reloaded and then you pop out, and you have to wait for your timing, your reticle to come in if you're aiming, and then pop them, because what you're doing is you're reducing your DPS. If you pop out slightly before you're all the way reloaded, so that it's barely reloading by the time you're also aiming, you can increase your DPS and take that guy out a lot faster. I have a lot of success with pop-out game, and it's because of these tactics that I've just told you about. So we're going to move to the next topic, and let me know what you think about this and any other tips you can. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is base capture. And we're going to talk about capturing the enemy base, and also if the enemy is capturing your base. Now, many times in matches, especially in the lower tier matches, when you have globs on either side, both people get to the cap, and both caps are starting to get capped. The points are starting to tick for both teams. Now, if you can, and in general you can, it's better to get back to your base to stop the cap on your base than it is to try to capture the enemy base, because you can take away the enemy's capture points by damaging them. If you can't kill them, at least you can damage them. Now, what you can do is send a couple of your guys back, the fast movers like the light tanks or the medium tanks, to get some damage on the enemy and take their capture points away while your team is still capturing their base, and you will win. Even better if they can take out some of the tanks that are capturing, because obviously that'll stop the cap completely. So here's what's going to happen. Let's say Andrew and I are playing, and we have teams or whatever, and I'm coming up on Andrew's cap. He's sitting there. He's coming over to try to defend, and I start capping. As you can see, the capture points will tick for each tank 1 tick per second, up to 3 tanks. So if we have 5 tanks in the capture here, we will only still get 3 capture points per second. It goes by the first 3 tanks to enter the cap. Now, that doesn't mean only put 3 tanks in the cap. You want to have 5 tanks in case Andrew can kill me, because then the next guy that entered latest will start accruing capture points, and that makes it a lot harder for the enemy to defend a cap. So let's say I got some capture points on me now. Andrew, shoot me. Watch what happens. Shoot me with regular ammo. Was that HE or regular? So he just shot me and penetrated me, and it took off my cap points, and it starts all over. So that's why defending the base is a great idea. At least send a couple guys back to knock off the enemy points. Now let's say Andrew, I was like I don't know, a Tiger 2, I'm a tier 8 tank, I've got lots of armor. There's no way Andrew's going to penetrate me from the front. So Andrew loads HE. Load some HE, Andrew. So don't shoot at me yet, but all you have to do is get 1 point of damage on the enemy to take his capture points away. So even if you can penetrate him, you have a really good chance. Just switch to HE on the first time. You're going to hit him to make sure you can get rid of his capture points. Go ahead and hit me, Andrew, with HE. Try to shoot me right where in the weak points. Now, even with HE, sometimes you won't get damage. That's why you really need to load HE to make sure you have the highest percent chance to get some damage on the enemy. So our crews are kind of bad, and so we're having some missed shots. So I'm just going to move on to a couple other areas here. Oh, there we go. HE shot on my tracks there, get some damage. Even if you damage modules, it'll reset the cap. And that's what Andrew's trying to do here, is just reset the cap. So the last but not least is, there's two things. Don't just come here and sit here in the cap. The enemy artillery is going to try to systematically bomb the cap to try to get 1 damage on you to reset the points. So keep moving around like you're seeing me doing here. This goes especially for lighter tanks and fast-moving tanks, because you can cover more distance. You basically want to make your position to the enemy random. If they can't see you, then they don't know where you are in the cap, and it's random. Another thing you're going to want to do, I don't want to run over it, is get behind this little tiny supply depot right here. This will absorb 1 shell, and whoa, I guess I capped the base. Hold on a sec. So another thing, last but not least, is don't just sit in the cap. You want to keep moving around now, especially if you're lights. And that's because if the enemy can't see you, the enemy artillery will just try to bomb the area systematically to try to get 1 damage on you and wipe your points out. So you want to keep moving around like this. If the enemy does see you, like Andrew can here, obviously he's coming back for a base defense, he's going to want to shoot me so I don't cap the base, so I'm going to get behind some cover. Go ahead and shoot this supply depot, Andrew. Andrew's trying to... Oh! It absorbed a round for me. Try to shoot me again. Oh, look. See, this thing can absorb rounds for you. Shoot me again. Now I have 2 free shots where Andrew can't penetrate me because I was hiding. Hit me. You better make sure you hit me. You're probably not going to be able to hit me. So, what you're gonna want to do is hide behind this supply area if you can. Okay, stop shooting me now. Or, better yet, hide behind another tank. Because whatever you can do to hide so they can't shoot you, you can keep capturing those points. Even if the tank is not a dead tank, the lighter tanks should be hiding behind the heavier tanks, whoever has the most armor, to make sure that you can get those base capture points in time to win the game. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this guide. There's a lot of other stuff I didn't cover, and hopefully we're going to have... If you're watching this and you have more tips to give us, just please give us tips, and we'll add them to this thing. I'll put annotations and give you credit. And also read all those links if you want to know more about this game. There's a lot to know in this game, and I have definitely not covered even half of it probably. So please like and comment on this thing if you liked this video, and tell me if you want more of these. If it helped you, please comment as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.